You're listening to the Who is Christine Anyway podcast season 2. Today's special guest is author, educator, and generally really nice guy, Tom Guzzio. Enjoy.
Why am I explaining myself? I need to get beyond the point of needing to explain myself. Like, I need to exercise my brain as to why I need to justify this to anybody. Because at some point, you just need to get past it. You're not earning it for them. The books are for me. The children's books are for my kids and for whatever. They're just cute. They're called My Mom Works in Music, and it's different industry areas. First of all, I've had a hell of a time coming up with girls' names. So I went through all of my kids, and then I went to my dogs. I'm trying to get... So like half these books, like these little children are like named after dogs, but whatever. It's insane. Oh, I've been like stocking up on, Plan B and condoms and all that crap I have girls. I'm like, just put that in the cabinet.
Yep.
So it's just one of those things where it's like, if you don't even need to count it. I don't want to know anything. Just it's in there. If you need it, take it as needed. And it's just one of those things where I can't believe I've got a kid who's going for aerospace engineering and graduating in the top 10%. My first one out. I didn't even fuck her up. Like, does she have enough trauma? Like, you need to have a certain level of trauma. Like, what is the cutoff? Do I have time? I've got 4 months. What can I do?
Oh, don't worry. She'll find it and remind you about it.
Yeah. She's probably going to be like, remember that time you were fixated on a plank?
That's right. I really could have used you then. And you just weren't there for me.
I know. It's so funny. Like, you're so excited on a piece of sidewalk. But she's great. And then the one below her, it's so funny though, because Abby is so the anxious version of me, but she's aerospace. And then Amelia is the very cryptic, dark humored. She's in all the advanced things. She's an amazing writer. She was my assistant last summer. Hilariously dark humored. You would have the best time with her. Her writing is top notch. Like, wow. And in like the scariest kind of way. Like, I'm like, you were just supposed to summarize what happened in, To Kill a Mockingbird, and now you've written why that tree was not the appropriate type of wood. Like, it's one of those types of things. Like, she's so like, I don't want to write about that. I'm just going to write about this portion of it. And I'm going to, but it's such a good argument that they end up passing her and giving her a point. It's just so funny. She's just, and then they just go, and Dahlia is just hilarious. I don't know what part of me she is yet. Comedic relief, I guess. Watch her get a plaque. That's okay. But I'm doing, it's good. Like, you really have done a lot for a lot of people still up here. I still hear your name. It still is mentioned to me often when I say I went to Saranac Lake. They'll go, did you have Guzzio? It still happens.
Well, now that I'm approaching retirement age, I need some of those children who are now adults who might be better off than I am financially to remember me kindly as I try to make it as an old man in Trump's America.
Yeah. Oh my God. But yeah, no, I don't know who needs it more, you or me at this point. By the rate we're going, we can't even get houses. Like, the insurance rates are insane. But
I know. Well, I might have to pick your brain about the book thing because I am working on a book length project.
You should write books. You should write textbooks too.
Yeah, no.
Why not?
Textbooks about what?
Well, any type of book can be a textbook. You realize there's now syllabi on like musicians and stuff like that and their process and what they've done to get where they are.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But there should be that, like, you could almost write that type of book and understanding, like, what you've learned about understanding children of different vast circumstances. Like, you've had children of vast circumstances. And you've witnessed different types of schools, charter schools, private schools, public schools, individualized schools, learning schools, stuff like that. And I think that really does add to it a value. And I think it's the best way to do it is just write a story and do it almost, I don't want to say memoir style, but if you write it as in like short stories, obviously all names changed, etc. And understanding like what has worked for different people. So people understand different perspectives, that it's not, a square, it's a cube. You know what I mean? It's not 2-dimensional, It's 3-dimensional. Everyone's 3-dimensional. Like, we don't know what goes on at their home. I've seen some of the richest people get the shit kicked out of them and be treated so badly. And yet still be the nicest, but I've also seen people who have absolutely nothing be the meanest.
Mm.
And I've seen it vice versa too. So it really is, you know, that nature nurture thing that they talk about. But how does that apply to a teaching? And how does culture affect that? What level of fear does culture invoke into a child to create their learning interpretation to be different? How come I'm giving you essay assignments?
I know this is really strange.
But that is a very deep, complex thought. Like, how does culture alter a person's, you know, fear mongering, culture mongering? How does that alter a child's perception and ability to question what they know as existence?
I don't know, like
Here's a funny fact.
Well, hold on a second though, but like,
okay,
the thought of writing about education though is like, I don't know, maybe it's because, you know, I feel like I finally found a work-life balance that's reasonable for me, that I don't want to spend the time that I have writing about work. Maybe if I have some distance from it.
Well, you take time. You'd write it like journal, like as stories come to you. You know what I mean? Like you write it out as your own. And then in time, after you're done, like maybe you've done, you maybe give it a year to say, okay, for the next year, as I feel fit, you know, and you may have some days where you write 3, you may have days where you don't write for 2 months. That's generally how I did it. And it was very, like, I would do it. I had to go slow when I did my memoir because I had to deal with the problem as I went through therapy. So if I was going to take on a story, I made sure my therapist was aware. So I always had my perspective, this perspective, and then, you know, any other perspective. I actually had at one point, I was doing 2 hours on a relationship type therapist, and I was doing 1 hour on an individual type therapist. And I would put myself, and this is the weird part. It's so freaking weird when you think about this process. And in fact, the amount of science I put into it. Every night, if I was going to watch anything before bed, it had to be Downton Abbey. And it had to be the same thing on repeat. That entire series, only seasons 1, 5, 6, and only half of 4. Only the parts that were just comforting, small conflict, low conflict situations, calming voices. Okay. I would do that. I know this is so wild, but I would do that for those times. And then my brain would become attuned to, I would hear Downton Abbey voice, the music. And it was almost like your body is like a dog. If your dog hears a clicker and they're trained to sit, they sit. So if you learn to power down your vagal nervous system with the reference of music or talking in tones and accents, you actually can learn to shut down a certain level of anxiety around a scenario. So I would never talk about conflictual things after 2 p.m. I would turn on Downton Abbey at bedtime. Oh yeah, like it was like this nutso system of understanding. Showers only in the morning. And it would just be consistent amounts of understanding what I was putting in. No caffeine after 2 p.m. neither. It was just understanding these certain things, certain amounts of sunshine, certain amounts of gym, never more than 5 miles a week at the gym. I would go tanning in 2 months of the year specifically, not because of any other reason, but because of the warmth from the tanning bulbs would trigger the system in the body. Now, if you start having a panic attack, you take cold, put it on your eye sockets, you immediately stop having a panic attack because the vagal nerve is like right in the back of your head and it would reset your body completely. So there was so much science that went into what I did to make sure there was no catastrophic type results and understanding like certain songs, certain things. If you listen to songs enough, they will actually become your mood.
No, I totally get that.
Right. So if you think of theme songs, tell me a theme song you remember. You remember Full House.
I never watched that show.
Any of those type of sitcoms. Jeopardy.
But no, I mean, well, the whole example of that stupid Sad Eye song that I would hear that would make me automatically take me back to having to give my dog up. No, I totally get that. And I can appreciate that. There's always a soundtrack to an essay that I'm working on.
Think about Jeopardy, right? Do do do. You know that song when they're doing the end thing? People hear that sound, just that small clip, and whatever answer is given to that question, they are 9 times more likely to remember.
Crazy.
Because it's double jeopardy, and they're like, I need to pay attention. This is what I need to understand. So then they're like, hey, can you believe it was about Pink Floyd? Like, they had a trio on there at one point, which was interesting because I listened to them in high school, and I'm still friends with them. It's kind of weird. But it's one of those things where it's like people remember that based on those songs, or like Wheel of Fortune, the ticking of the wheel. Tick, 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 tick. You always are able to solve word puzzles. If you play that ticking sound in the background while you're trying to pick letters for Hangman, you're more likely to win. People are just, I don't want to say overeducated vegetables, but
It makes sense.
House plants. We need sun, water, and warmth, I guess. Kind of one of those things. But it was interesting to, I really needed to make sure I had those things in place because my kids need me to not be like teetering in the corner, like rocking back and forth, like freaking out. But Downton Abbey in those episodes, it's really interesting. I don't know. It's just the calmness of the voice. Turn on documentaries at bedtime, not Hitler ones. Turn on documentaries at bedtime. And when you turn them on, the calming voice of the British will put you to sleep quicker than someone who's doing like the Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. Like, you're going to want to watch that. You're going to be like, what are they doing on the back of that toilet? Like, you're going to be curious versus, wanting to know about what that sea urchin's doing. Aside from the fact that it's interesting and probably very unsanitary.
So, has this been everything you hoped it would be and more?
Yeah, it has. It has. It's been great. It's been wonderful to catch up, and there's always time for you to catch up too. So I'm going to say, we'll say goodbye, and I'll hang up on the recording part, and then I'll stay for 2 seconds to say goodbye to you. So thank you for everything.
My pleasure.
Like all the way, like from start to finish, high school all the way through. I think it was, I really do credit you a lot for kind of seeing me when no one else really did. So that was really great of you. I'm not going to get teary, I swear.
I'm not going to get teary either.
No, but it's to have books and have a podcast and have success. I don't think I would have gotten where I've gotten if it hadn't been for the few people who did take that time.
Well,
okay, I'm trying to not get teary. I'm failing.
Here, just look at me. Just look at me.
Oh, God, what about the dog? Don't tell me about the dog. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. I can't really explain it until I didn't think I would ever be able to explain it. I always framed high school as miserable. And then I, especially like you said, as I got older, I realized I'm like, no, I really kind of perfected arguing in there. I perfected like so many things, like how to be visibly invisible at the same time. It just really worked that well. If I wanted to talk, I could talk. And I managed to really, because I was so whatever I was able to kind of slink between social groups, just not the hierarchy. It's just whatever just whatever was friendly enough. And I managed to really kind of appreciate that. So sometimes what you don't learn, you learn you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for absolutely everything. And I know there's like so many out there echoing that same sentiment too.
It's a gift. It's a gift you guys have given to me. It really is. I don't think I would enjoy my life the way I do now if not for the students that I've had the privilege to work with.
You've left a legacy that those people in that teacher's lounge didn't even touch. They didn't even touch. So that's probably why they didn't talk to you, because they couldn't. They just couldn't.
Well, thank you.
So that's, thank you so much. And you'll have to come back in a year when I'm still petitioning for a piece of concrete.
We should just put one in guerrilla style.
I was joking that I was going to go steal one of those concrete bears and put it in Berkeley Square and put for the girl who could barely stand and put that on the middle of it. But I'm like, no, I'm going to be nice. I know it's not the town's fault. I think it's probably something more internal. It's just one of those things where, I don't know. I think it's innately built into me to be like, I can do this, whether they think I can or not. I'm going to do this.
Yeah, but certain people in certain places, again, I'm sure I'm not the only one who you can look back on from Saranac Lake as somebody who's helped and has made a difference.
No, I mean, but educationally, you were a big
Yeah,
prominent one. There's a few, but nothing like, especially through high school. It was you in high school, and I think in middle school I think that was more comedic, trying to figure out who the hell it was in
yeah,
that whole mess. Like there was so
yeah.
much that went on in middle school, and then elementary school was just a modge podge of just these hilarious stories of my grandmother doing the best she can. Like showing up to field days at the high school track when they would fifth grade, and she'd drive her little Aerostar van, the big clunky Aerostar.
Mm-hmm.
She'd drive it to the fence because she didn't want to get out because she didn't like any of the other people either. So she would sit in her car, and like I'd run by and she'd beep the horn and I'd freaking jump like I'm running, and I'm like, ah, yeah, and I just keep going. So yeah, I mean there's god damn, that woman's she's such a powerhouse. So it's kind of one of those funny things where I do have friends in the way that have really, they were really close and then they've dropped off and gone a completely different direction. And I'm like, I don't want to be that person that drops off to anybody.
Mm.
I just don't want to be that. I just don't want to be that person I look back at and go, times got tough and they got gone. They got out of here.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I can't let go of that town, because it's like rows of door, dude in the water. Like, do I let the town sink? Or do I let myself take the door? Or what are the door economics here? I need to know the numbers.
Well, they're going to do what they want to do, and if the pinnacle if the pinnacle of your life, and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about like
in general,
the people who make these kinds of decisions. Like if what makes you tick is being able to say, yeah, Philadelphia Eagles, they need a square. They need a square. They were here for like 3 years back in the 40s, getting ready for football season. They get a square. Faye Dunaway. Yeah, she dropped a plate or two summers. He gets a square.
They look at that and they probably go, I didn't tip her.
I mean, I wonder what she'd have to say about Saranac Lake, if anything.
I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I kind of go other places and I talk about it and everything else, and they go, so you'd be good on Naked and Afraid then? I'm like, it's one of those things, because there's nothing there. I'm like, it's cold, it's hot, it's wet, it's dry, it's a mountain, it's a river, it's a lake, it's dirt, it's mud, it's like, they're like, it's everything perfect. And you said there's bears, so you can handle animals? I'm like, are you scoping me? I should go Naked and Afraid. Watch them put me in Africa. Then I'm screwed. But if they put me in a mountain, I'm good.
Yeah. No, let that go like the square, too.
Really? What if we take one from Saranac Lake and bring it over to the West Coast and drop it off? And like, then the West Coast.
Why does that need to be you, though?
I'd survive. Like, that's the problem. I'd be friendly enough. I'm good enough. I can adapt. That's a cosmetology.
Probably be great.
Like, I can do something. I can braid a rug out of tree bark or something. I don't know. It's just, I don't think I need to go back there further. I used to just go, my grandmother lives on the Bloomingdale Road, so I would just kind of go there and never go in town unless I needed gas. That's where I would stop. And then the concert thing happened, and then it was peace and dust. And now I'm actually, I have to take my old boss to Supreme Court. I filed the Freelance Isn't Free Act complaint because he didn't pay me. So that's maybe I'll get a plaque as the first woman to annoy the richest family in town.
Wow. Who's the boss?
Bob Farmer. Mark Farmer's brother. Makes sense. Aaron, Stacy, they were shitty on a good day. We'll crop that out. Oh, most of this will all get cropped out. We'll cut this. But it's one of those things where they were meanish. They're still mean. They're never going to change.
Of course they are.
They've always been that way. So it's kind of one of those things where.
Wouldn't you be mean and bitter if like the main job you had to make you feel worthy is gatekeeping in a little town like Saranac Lake?
One of them married Matt Reynolds. I can't remember which one. I think Stacy. Which makes sense. To me, I was like, that's fine. If they just breed with each other, it can't get any worse spread out wise. We could just slenderize the tree. We can keep it thin. But it's kind of one of those things where it's just like, guys, what are you gonna do when you run out of genetics? Like, we going Tupper? I can bring a Juggalo concert in. How do we feel about this?
Jesus Christ.
I've got options.
There's
it's one of those things where it just kind of gets funny. Like, I was talking to other people, and they're like, "What's your goal for music?" I'm like, "I want to crowd surf on the crowd on plywood, like Fred Durst at '99 Woodstock." And that's actually like it was funny because it's now like kind of coming into the discussion table of me and a bunch of the other people, like 4 people. I have the same birthday as the guy who did Woodstock, which is weird. And I actually have a promoter friend who has the same birthday as me, and he's a few years older than me. And I'm like, it's a sign, let's do Woodstock. So what's been a joke is now slowly turning into, we got contacts, we know what we're doing. And I'm just like, are we gonna? Like, at the same time, it would be just like me to just be like, fuck it. Like, let's see. We'll structure it like Warped Tour, break it into separate sections. I mean, hell, we're already going to be under martial law. We could probably get a few of them up there. They can run security. Bring a tank, just in case. If it doesn't want to shoot weapons, we can hook the hose to it.
There you go.
It's fine. It'll just keep everybody cool. Like
Keep
the
them
Trainwreck
hydrated.
Documentary. You're going to see me on Netflix one day, and you're just going to be like, of course. Like, you're just going to... I taught her. You were almost named after her. Like, almost, but never at the same time.
Well, shit, she'll probably be there. Maybe her.
Yeah, could you imagine that shit? Like, you're like, oh my God, what's going on? There's Christine. Oh my God, there's my daughter. They're both on the same piece of plywood.
Well, her boyfriend is the musician. So.
I don't know her boyfriend, so that I know of. So it's kind of one of those things. But maybe she'll trip into it and be like, your dad was my teacher. I haven't had that happen to me yet, though, where I stumble into somebody outside of our usual, I won't say clique, our usual circle at a Saranac Lake that has been like, oh yeah, we had the same teacher. But then again, Boston, I didn't really Boston's bigger than Saranac Lake, so it would take me a minute to meet a lot more people. Massachusetts in general, so. But yeah, thank you for everything. It's just, sure. You know, my writing doesn't suck. Thanks for teaching me how to use adjectives. I do let my children swear. I call them sentence enhancers. So I'm like, as long as you use it properly, correctly, and not in a vindictive manner, then I can appreciate it. And if you can get creative with the swear word, more points.
Bonus points.
Yep. If you can just kind of find something new. Like, so I don't know, with 4 girls, I never had sisters my age, so I was kind of like clueless, but karma. It's been fun though, I guess.
That's been fun.
It is fun. It's just, I don't know, it's one of those things when you don't have any idea what you're doing and you get thrown in it. I didn't know what I was doing with music either though. I just kind of got thrown in it. I seem to do really good with that whole sink or swim scenario. Works with survival.
Sometimes you have a choice. Drowning sucks.
Exactly. That's exactly. Sink or swim. So thank you for everything. This is going to be, it's been wonderful. Like, I have a book over here called The Big Words You Should Know book, too. That's another good book you should snag. You'd be surprised how much I read now. It'd be probably terrifying, but.
That's good.
I think when, same thing with writing. People tell you to stop doing it. You're like, okay, I'm going to do it now. I think that, what do they call that? That teenaged rebellion. This never dies.
Nope.
So, anyway, I'm going to go to Woodstock.
All right.
I'll be around. If you need anything at all, thank you. Obviously, we'll crop this way down. Probably be like an hour long out of 3, which will be amazing.
Yeah. If you need anything else, let me know.
Same to you. Same to you. And definitely snatch the book, Creative Act, A Way of Being. It's really good.
I've got it on my my want list.
I think it was like $12 at Target. And it was just something that they suggested to get during that conference. And it was just, I'm like, wow, it's really an understanding of how to be creative and of the artist. So it's interesting. If you're into understanding those perspectives, and then, you know, them teaching you can be trained by audio without words was wild.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense.
It's weird though. Like same thing with the hot and the cold. I don't know. I guess I thought I was a little bit more educated than a houseplant, but apparently I'm not. I just wasn't self-aware. That's all.
Well, you know, you have 4 kids. Who has time for self-awareness?
I know, but it's the things you learn you hand to your kids, which has been really cool because they just take it and they go with it now. But by the way, they only have to write 1 essay, and it applies to all the colleges.
I know.
And they can write whatever the fuck they want. Like, every college used to have a different topic. What the hell happened?
Well, they get 7 choices, and the 7th choice is the other 6 don't fit. Make something up.
That was exactly it. You know, that was the thing too with Berkeley though, and nobody told me that was even possible, is that when I got into Berkeley, because of life experience, they took 2 years off my degree.
Nice.
So I was like, I didn't even fucking pass anything, but it was because of the fact that I had put in, so really this high school sector is such a blip in your life, but it can have such a profound impact. So it's kind of one of those things.
Yeah.
It's interesting to know. But let me know if you need anything.
Will do.
You know, you're always, anything I have is yours. I'll send you my kid. She can be a speaker, tell you about her trauma.
As always, thank you to Tom Guzzio for dropping by. I look forward to a future catch-up with him soon. Visit www.whoischristineanyway.com for access to all the social media links and additional podcast episodes.